Here's Moody. Field goal kick is tipped and it's blocked and it's no good. Colby Wooden got his hands on it and it keeps it a 1-point game.
I mean, I like that they didn't score. I like that we won at the end of the day. You know, we did try to score. We had a chance there right after on second down. Thought we had a chance for BA over the middle. Would have been a big play that got us inside the 10 with 2 shots to take it to the end zone. We didn't have the time to get it over the mic, and we ended up checking it down, and then we didn't get it. But that's how it works out. I thought we make sure they don't get another chance, but it's not like we were just playing for a field goal. We called for a big play. They played pretty deep.
Now, back to Willard and Dibs on 95.7 The Game.
Does that bother you, Kyle's obsession with holding the ball at the end of the first half and getting it in the second half as well?
It doesn't bother me until it doesn't work. So, when it doesn't work, it bothers me.
Yeah, it didn't work this time.
No, it didn't work, but I do take him at his word in terms of the way they tried to play it. And, Brock Purdy in that time was shaky. And he was checking down everything, and when he was throwing it down the field, it was a lot of incomplete, inaccurate passes. So they did what they did to set up a 3-point try, and it was a good field goal try. And honestly, you can blame the kicker for aiming it left or kicking it low, but if you watch the replay, there were 4 Packers up with their hands ready to block that. So I don't think that the field goal block did enough to get those guys down or back. So there were a lot of hands up there. And, yeah, the kick was low, and Moody maybe in the wet weather was trying to drive it lower just to make sure he had enough on it to get it there. But it turned out to be a negative result. And then coming out to start the third quarter, that to me is a bigger issue than the way he managed the clock at the second quarter. You came out and you did nothing. You went nowhere, 3 and out. That's where it hurt the most, I think.
Well, I think that most people were saying the same thing throughout the game, which is, why is Christian McCaffrey not touching the ball more? And I know he ended up with plenty of touches, right? Like, what did he end up with? 7 catches, 17 carries. That's 24 touches. That's pretty normal.
Yeah.
That's a normal McCaffrey game. I heard Shasky this morning going, he's got to have 30. He's got to have 30, which is funny because, and I get it, we're at the playoffs now, but all year long, everyone was like, this is too many touches. There's too many touches for Christian McCaffrey. We're going to wear him out. Here we are in the playoffs. So I get it. You wanted to hold those touches for now. But I have no issue with 24 touches. I don't really have some sort of a number of touches that need to happen. I did feel, and that opening drive in the second half was one of them. It's like, why aren't you kind of using that as a baseline? That's what the Packers did. Use it as a baseline. Because if you can get 5 or 6 yards, which is exactly what Christian averaged on the game, 5.8, and I know that he had a long one, so that kind of changes it. But if you can get that 5 or 6 yards on first down, my gosh, that changes everything and makes moving the ball down the field so much easier. It felt like there was too much throwing the ball on first down, especially when you had a quarterback who was struggling.
Yeah. And it's hard because when they would run it on first down, Green Bay was up to it a lot, and you got yourself into second down. You don't want to be too predictable. And I think that losing Deebo Samuel made the whole script a little bit more unpredictable as well, because if you have Deebo in there, now you can bring him in motion. You can hand him the ball. You can put him in the backfield and put McCaffrey out wide. And you saw that the first play of the second half where they did that with Juwan. They put Juwan in the Deebo spot, and they handed it to Juwan, and he lost 2 yards. And it's like, why are you handing it to Juwan? Well, this is the play that they run with Deebo, so you tried it with Juwan, and it didn't work. So,
well, it was also not the play call. It was something that got sort of audibled to. Here's what Shanahan said with regard to that play call.
Great question. Those are some of the challenges when something goes down and you call a wristband number, and forgot to tell him not to say Hezzy or not to read Hezzy. But sometimes we just Ron Burgundy our wristbands, and then you look up and Juwan's in the backfield and couldn't stop it.
Okay, so first of all, I love football language because you'll sit there in press conferences and say stuff like this, and none of us have any idea what the hell you're talking about.
Hezzy. It's the Hezzy. It's
yeah.
that.
Exactly.
He's got that Hezzy.
But I get what he means by Ron Burgundy, which is that like we went to the wristband and you just read whatever's there. That's Ron Burgundy.
Totally.
You read whatever the teleprompter
Sometimes
says.
Ron Burgundy, the wristband.
And then off we go. And then you realize, oh, that play was for Debo. And so Juwan Jennings gets stuffed at the line of scrimmage.
Right.
And now you're in 2nd and long. And it leads to a 3 and out. Whoops.
So I wonder what he means by the hezzy. Did he mean that that's supposed to be McCaffrey there and because it's not Debo, we don't want to put Juwan back there. And so Christian, who I believe was in the slot for that play, and you had Jennings in the backfield. And I guess you don't want to call timeout when you see it, the first play from scrimmage in the second half. You want to save those timeouts. So you see him break the huddle, and you see the formation, and you figure, all right, we might as well just let this one ride and see how it goes.
Let's go to the phones. 888-957-9570. And hear from y'all. Jonathan in the city. Hey, Jonathan, what are you doing?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Just finished brunch. And
Really?
I just want to say, man, that same effort gets them beat against Detroit Lions next week. They need to get significantly better, especially that run defense right in the middle. It's like they're giving up 5-7 yards a pop each time. That pass rush is non-existent. I mean, what's going on with Chase Young and Nick Bosa? They're not getting there. None of them were getting there. That's not going to be good enough. Brock Purdy threw pick sixes that they didn't catch. I mean, you're right, Mark. The whole time I'm watching the game, it felt terrible. I've never had the feeling that they were going to win. I was waiting for another Green Bay touchdown, and that would have been the nail in the coffin if they went up, by 2 scores. But hey, was it the luck of the Irish or Cat's 9 lives? Got lucky. So they need to get significantly better if they want to play in Las Vegas.
I will agree that they need, and Jonathan, thanks. They're going to need to play better this Sunday, but I would wholeheartedly believe that they will. Look, there were some circumstances in play in this one that made it a challenge. I think it's a little simplistic to just go rest versus rust, but there is also something to be said for that. Like, you don't play football for 3 weeks, and then you walk into the pressure cooker, and it's raining the entire night, and the other team is in a flow and feeling confident and all of that. Like, look, playoff games are supposed to be challenging. They're supposed to be challenging. I know Baltimore ran away with it in the second half, but at halftime,
Yep.
they're like, oh, God.
It's a ball game.
Oh, God, what's going on? Buffalo, they lost. You know what I mean?
Tampa was in it for 3 quarters.
Tampa was in it until, they had the ball down 8 with a few minutes to go.
Down 8, yeah.
They were down 8. You don't like that?
I hate that they tried to go for 2 there, and I know
That's
that
the thing now.
the analytics people, yes, and I still just don't understand it. So you need to go for 2 once, right? If you're down 15, so why not go for the 2 the second time?
No, you don't. They were down 14.
Right. So why go for 2 when you're down? So you cut it to 8. I don't understand why you go for 2. What's wrong with overtime?
Apparently stats. That's
Okay.
what's wrong. Percentages.
Even in the new overtime realm where you're going to get the ball.
Percentages.
Yeah,
You're playing the percentages, so it's like, I can totally agree with you conceptually, but all they're going to respond with is math. We're playing the percentages.
Right.
And the percentages suggest that that's the right thing to do.
So you go for 2, you don't get it.
Yep.
Now you're down 8. And
Yep.
let's say you do score a touchdown.
Now you got to go for 2 again.
But you need the 2 just to get the tie.
Correct.
Whereas if you would have gone for the 1, you're down 7, you score. Then you have a choice where you go for the 2 for the win, or you go for 1 and you get overtime.
Green Bay did this earlier in the year and won a football game. They do not go to the playoffs if they didn't do this in New Orleans earlier this year.
Against New Orleans, yeah.
Yeah, you're down 14, you get the touchdown, you go for 2. If you get it, you're down 6, and now you only need an extra point to win the game. And again, I completely agree with you that it's counterintuitive.
Yeah.
But by the same token, somebody has run the percentages, and apparently that's a better way to do it.
And I guess the 2-point conversion is a 55% play now.
So in theory,
and the PAT is 95.
Right. So in theory, you're going to at least get one of them.
Right.
But you're also giving yourself a chance to win. You're also giving yourself a chance to win.
Right.
So, yeah, there's a couple ways to do it. You can also do that 2-point conversion at the end. That's what the Lions did in Dallas.
Yeah.
And they got it.
How'd that work out for you?
Yeah. Don't get me started.
Didn't get it.
Did get it.